In the second half of 2024, the Indian Federal Ministry of Mines announced a big news. They discovered rich lithium reserves in many parts of the country, mainly in Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka in the southwest, and several areas in the east. It is estimated that the lithium reserves in Jammu and Kashmir alone are as high as 5.9 million tons. In addition, they have discovered reserves of more than 10 important minerals in other mining areas. But interestingly, when reporting on these mineral discoveries, the Indian media deliberately emphasized one point. If these minerals can be mined smoothly, India will have the opportunity to get rid of its dependence on Chinese minerals. It sounds like a good prospect, right? But then, local Indian mining engineers immediately came out to pour cold water. They pointed out a very realistic problem. India currently has no ability to mine these minerals independently. Even if it can dig out the ore through cooperation with other countries, India's processing capacity will be very limited. Moreover, among these newly discovered minerals, the processing technology of 6 key minerals is now only mastered by China. So the question is, why is India so eager to get rid of its dependence on Chinese minerals? Why can't India or other countries besides China get these minerals? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. Chips, semiconductors, electric vehicles, and other high-tech fields, as well as the clean energy industry, are inseparable from critical minerals. In this international context, countries are quietly accelerating the layout of the supply chain of key minerals. For example, the United States, the European Union, Japan, and Australia have strengthened their control over the mineral supply chain through various policy means. At the same time, India is not idle. They actively joined the United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries to try to promote the de-Chinization of the international mineral supply chain, and even wanted to form a so-called mineral supply alliance. According to the data in 2023, India's total imports of 10 key minerals such as cobalt, nickel, lithium, and copper hit a record high of $11 billion. Among them, the import dependence of cobalt, lithium, and nickel is directly full, reaching 100%, and the import dependence of copper is as high as 93%. What's more exaggerated is that most of the 30 minerals are heavily dependent on imports from China. For example, bismuth. Between 2019 and 2024, India's imports of bismuth from China accounted for 85.6% of the total imports, a total of about 35,000 tons. Looking at lithium, India imported as much as $25.53 million of lithium from China in 2023, accounting for 61.8% of the total imports. In terms of silicon, India imported 886,800 tons from China, which is also a very high proportion. There are also natural graphite and flake graphite. The total amount of natural graphite exported by China in 2023 was 221,900 tons, of which India bought 22,500 tons, accounting for about 10.1%. The same is true for flake graphite. India is still one of the main buyers of China's total exports. Judging from these data, India is basically a big customer of China's exports in the import market of key minerals. However, India has tried to solve the problem by forming a mineral supply alliance in recent years, but the effect is not ideal. The alliance plan has not shown the expected efficiency so far, forcing India to try other strategies, hoping to find a breakthrough on the resource side. To this end, the Indian government has also relaxed many restrictions and even given the green light to mining policies, allowing companies to explore mineral resources without a mining license. Now, these exploration companies are really powerful. Recently, the Indian media released the news that they discovered large-scale lithium deposits and a variety of key minerals in 5 regions in the country. This should have been great news, but the news that followed was a bit ridiculous. Professionals pointed out that these minerals cannot be mined in India at all. So, what is the reason behind this? At the end of 2024, the Indian Federal Ministry of Mines announced a piece of news that excited the whole country. A large number of key mineral reserves were discovered in Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka in the southwest, Rajasthan in the west, and Jharkhand in the east. Among them, the lithium reserves in Jammu and Kashmir are particularly amazing, reaching 5.9 million tons. What is even more eye-catching is that in addition to lithium, these areas also contain more than a dozen other key minerals. When the news came out, the whole country was overjoyed, and the media rushed to report. The mine has been found. India will no longer rely on imports from China in the future. This tone seemed to have seen the glorious future of India getting rid of external dependence and moving towards resource independence. However, just when everyone was excited, this feeling of being hit by wealth made India quickly calm down in an instant. After the Indian media reported the news, a national mining engineer immediately pointed out two major problems. First, the mine was found, but the mining capacity could not keep up. Many key minerals are buried very deep, and advanced exploration and mining technologies are needed to dig them out, which are not easily available. Moreover, this requires high-risk and high-cost investment support, but India currently lacks sufficient policy incentives, resulting in private enterprises unwilling to participate. This directly discounts the wealth effect of the ore. Secondly, even if it can be dug out, processing capacity is also a big problem. Take the 5.9 million tons of lithium ore discovered in Jammu and Kashmir as an example. Although the reserves seem very considerable, India has no technology and experience to extract lithium from this special geological structure. It is worth mentioning that the engineer also pointed out that if India wants to use these ores, it still cannot do without China's technology and processing capabilities. So why can't India do without China? In the final analysis, the core reason behind this is China's absolute dominance in the field of key minerals. As the world's largest mining power, China's influence in this field has penetrated into all aspects, from resource exploration to mining, to processing and refining. Every link is inseparable from China's technical and financial support. According to my survey data, China has discovered 173 types of mineral resources, including 13 energy minerals, 59 metal minerals, and 95 non-metallic minerals. Just looking at this classification is amazing enough, right? What's more exaggerated is that China's investment in mining technology is also top-notch, with an investment scale of up to 19.4 billion US dollars alone. These funds not only improve the efficiency of mineral mining, but also promote the rapid growth of China's key mineral exports, such as copper, lithium, gallium, germanium, graphite, and other hard currencies. However, China's real advantage is not only in exports, but also in its core competitiveness in processing and refining. Some data can make us feel this dominance more intuitively. China controls 87% of the world's rare earth processing, 58% of lithium refining capacity, and 68% of silicon processing. What does this mean? Simply put, the global supply chain and related fields can hardly avoid China's shadow. Take bismuth as an example. This metal is widely used in the pharmaceutical and chemical fields, but its smelting is extremely complicated. China currently controls 80% of the world's smelting output, directly locking other countries. For India, it is almost a fantasy to bypass China to refine bismuth. Another example is lithium. Although there are other lithium mineral resources in the world, the key issue is that China has 58% of the world's lithium refining capacity. Almost all countries must rely on China's processing technology, and India is no exception. The situation of silicon is more typical. Silicon is the core material for the manufacture of semiconductors and solar panels. Its processing technology is so complicated that many countries can only stay away from it. China's annual production capacity and output of industrial silicon account for 80.2% of the world respectively, which directly crushes other global competitors. Tellurium is also widely used in solar power generation and thermoelectric equipment manufacturing, and China's production accounts for 60% of the world's total, with almost no competitors in the market. As for graphite, it is an important material for electric vehicle batteries and steel production. China controls 67.2% of the world's graphite production. It can be said that this market is completely controlled by China. According to data from the Indian Ministry of Mines, India currently has identified 30 key minerals that are vital to the country's economic development and security. However, among these 30 key minerals, 10 are completely dependent on imports, especially the highest proportion of imports from China. Judging from the mineral import data from 2019 to 2024, India's dependence on 6 key minerals is particularly prominent: 85.6% for bismuth, 82% for lithium, 76% for silicon, 50.6% for titanium, 48.8% for tellurium, and 42.4% for graphite. It can be seen that India's import dependence in the field of key minerals is a long-standing problem. The reasons for this situation are also obvious. For many years, India has focused on solving domestic demand through imports, while underinvesting in the exploration, processing, and extraction technology of key minerals. This is why some industry insiders pointed out that India's desire to develop and utilize these key minerals is almost inseparable from China's help in the short term. After all, China has an absolute dominant position in processing and technology worldwide. But what's interesting is that India, which has always been tough on China, is reluctant to easily ask China for help on this matter. So India began to try a multi-pronged approach in the hope of finding a solution. First, India began to study China's various experiences in the mineral field and tried to learn lessons from them. As we all know, lithium is essential for electric vehicle batteries and energy storage. In order to reduce dependence on imported batteries and promote the development of domestic battery manufacturing, the Indian government launched a production-linked incentive program totaling 180 billion rupees, with the goal of developing an advanced chemical battery with an installed capacity of 50 gigawatts within 5 years. However, India may have underestimated the complexity of mineral mining and processing. In contrast, India still has a clear gap in mineral processing technology compared with other countries, including the United States. It is almost impossible to catch up with China in the short term. This is not the first time someone has tried to catch up with China. As early as more than 20 years ago, Western countries began to plan to surpass China in the field of mineral processing technology. After all, they have always been afraid of being blocked from mineral resource supplies. However, to this day, this goal is still out of reach. Although India has grand plans and ideals, from a realistic point of view, it is still difficult to truly get rid of its dependence on China. So, do you think India can do it? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.